Last Friday marked the end of Lester Holt's legacy as the anchor of NBC's Nightly News, with the legendary talent stepping down to now work on Dateline. Now another icon in the network, Tom Llamas, is picking up the mantle as he is set to begin hosting the program starting tonight. Brooke and I sat down with Llamas several days ago in preparation for his big transition to NBC's Nightly News.
Right now, we're marking a big moment in the history of American broadcast journalism. After a decade of trusted reporting, Lester Holt is stepping away from the news desk of NBC Nightly News.
And taking the helm is another familiar face, Tom Llamas, who many know as the anchor of Top Story on NBC News Now. Llamas is now preparing to step into one of the most iconic roles in television news.
Well, tonight we have the honor of sitting down and talking with Tom as he begins this new chapter. Tom, welcome and congratulations.
Brooke and Jack, so great to be with you guys. And it's funny, you guys are from the Miami Valley. I'm from Miami, Florida. So I feel like we're somehow distant cousins. We're related some way, I hope.
Forecast-wise, could not be more different. But we just mentioned it. This is one of the most
could not be more different. That is true.
One of the most well-known roles in broadcasting. What do you feel your responsibility is in a job like this?
Well, first, it's the honor of a lifetime, right? I still can't believe it, but it is something I've been working towards my whole life. I grew up in an NBC family. We would watch the greats of nightly news like Tom Brokaw and, of course, Lester Holt, someone who I worked for actually out of college. My wife worked for him. He's always been such an incredible guy, a good friend, a mentor, and he's always given me sage advice. So it is truly an honor to carry his legacy and take over for him as he leaves Nightly News and takes on Dateline full-time. I'm so looking forward to this challenge. I believe Nightly News is the best of NBC at night, and it's going to be great.
Now, Tom, you're already a well-known name, but that's about to elevate big time. Lester Holt has been in that role for years, and he's leaving some big shoes to fill. How do you look to put your own mark on this position?
You know, I think for decades, Americans have turned to Nightly News because it's the broadcast of record for America. I truly believe that. I think they turn to it because they trust the show. They obviously trust the anchor in the chair. But I don't think I need to tweak the formula too much. People love Nightly News for a reason, so we're going to stay with that formula. I think little by little, I'll put my own stamp on it, right? Every anchor does that. I know you guys do that on your show as well. But for the most part, Nightly News is not going to change. I do want to own breaking news. I want to make sure we're getting the latest information to our viewers across America every night. I also want to launch a franchise, an investigative franchise, looking at the insurance industry. I think whether you're trying to get housing insurance, you're trying to get medical insurance, you're trying to find a doctor or get coverage for your kids, it's tough out there, and the system really needs us to take a look at it, and so I'm looking forward to that. And then finally, I think we live in some wild times, some polarizing times, but there are still stories and there are still people that bring us together as Americans, regardless of your political party, and I want to highlight those because it's rough out there. Life is not easy, but at the end of the day, I do want to remind viewers there's a lot to be grateful for, there's a lot to be thankful for.
Well, your new role also makes you the first Latino anchor of a network evening news program at this level. Tell us what that means for you.
It's pretty amazing. It's all I can say. My parents left communist Cuba in the late 50s and early 60s. They didn't speak this language. They had no money, and yet this incredible country gave them a second chance. And they worked really hard, and they taught me to love this country. And I do. I think this is the greatest place in the world. They also taught me never to forget our roots back in Cuba, and I haven't. And I think what it tells me is that the American dream is still alive. If you can come to this country with nothing, work really hard, and your son can work hard as well and eventually become the anchor of Nightly News, it tells me the American dream is alive, and I believe that because I'm living it.
Well, Tom, we only have a few seconds. You touched on it earlier with your relationship with Lester. Has he given you any advice for this new job?
Yeah, we've spoken a lot because we're both dads, and Lester, as he was coming up in local news and cable and then at Nightly News, he was a dad and he was a husband. I have 3 kids, 12, 9, and 7, and so I've asked him about that, right, because the demands are tough on the family. In my life, I'm dedicated to 2 things, my wife and my kids and this job. And so we've talked about that and the balance, but it's sort of similar to what everyone in America really goes through, that work-life balance. Luckily, my family knows, you know, what this job takes, and they're excited, and they'll always support me. But, you know, there's going to be tough conversations, and there'll probably be some tears, but it's part of life, and it's part of this job.
All right. All right, Tom, sounds like we're in for a seamless transition here. Thank you so much for joining us.